House Democrats are demanding that Donald Trump show proof that he did not take a $10 million cash bribe from Egypt. In a letter to the former president, Congressman Jamie Raskin and Robert Garcia wrote, "Surely you would agree that the American people deserve to know whether a former president and a current candidate for president took an illegal campaign contribution from a brutal foreign dictator." This comes after a damning Washington Post report from last month. It claims that 5 days before Trump's inauguration in 2017, a bank in Cairo received a letter from the Egyptian intelligence service asking it to withdraw $10 million from its account in U.S. currency and all in cash. The report has not been independently verified by NBC News, but if true, it would certainly help explain Trump's bizarre description of a meeting he took with Egypt's president back in 2016. Watch.
We met for a long time, actually. We had a long meeting and got along. There was a good chemistry there. You know, when you have good chemistry with people, you're the king of that. And there was a very good chemistry, good feeling between us.
Now, the Washington Post also revealed a DOJ probe into the alleged bribe, which was then shut down after Attorney General Bill Barr intervened. Earlier today, I spoke with the ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Congressman Jamie Raskin of Maryland. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm sure you saw Trump campaign spokesman Steve Chung called your letter textbook fake news. I want to give you a chance to respond to it and explain your motivation for sending it.
Well, the textbook fake news translated into normal American vernacular means the truth. At least we have every reason to believe that it's true that Egyptian secret services at the behest of President El-Sisi, prepared $10 million worth of U.S. currency in 20 pounds of $10 bills and then packed it in duffel bags and sent it to Donald Trump as a bribe. And Trump, who had been famously reluctant to give any of his own money to his campaign, despite all of his promises that he would finance the campaign by himself, finally relented and decided to give his campaign $10 million with the reported promise that he would be reimbursed by President El-Sisi and by Egypt. And then that $10 million went to a final infusion of cash support for his campaign, including for an anti-Semitic TV ad he ran featuring the pictures of Janet Yellen and Lloyd Blankfein and George Soros, calling them globalists and saying that they were the enemies of the American people. And then Donald Trump was reportedly reimbursed in January for the money that he put up. But of course, he wasn't willing to actually put it in. So we sent a letter asking him either to deny those charges or to affirm those charges, and if he's planning to deny them, to refute them with actual facts against the very specific allegations that have been raised by people who were in a position to know what happened.
Let me dig in on that for a moment, because I want to highlight some of the striking details that came out of this Washington Post investigation. Employees were soon busy placing bundles of $100 bills into 2 large bags, according to records from the bank. 4 men arrived and carried away the bags, which U.S. officials later described in sealed court filings as weighing a combined 200 pounds and containing what was then a sizable share of Egypt's reserve of U.S. currency. How could the DOJ begin an investigation into something like this and then just stop? And what do you think is the connection here with Bill Barr?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for the correction. That $10 million did not weigh 20 pounds, as I said. It weighed 200 pounds, which is just astonishing that he got 200 pounds worth of American dollars in a foreign bribe, allegedly, according to the Washington Post. But look, we know that Donald Trump was telling his Attorney General, William Barr, what investigations to shut down and what investigations to open up. And that was an infamous pattern of Donald Trump's administration. He really used the Department of Justice like his in-house law firm and political flunkies. And so it seems entirely credible that there was movement within the U.S. Attorney's Office and the Department of Justice to investigate these extraordinary and very specific, factually anchored allegations, but then William Barr just shut the whole thing down. So we need to get to the bottom of this. I know that people's eyes glaze over now when they hear about the corruption of Donald Trump, but what we're talking about is a $10 million bribe from a foreign dictator proffered in the weeks before a presidential election. And we know that the autocratic dictator of Egypt was someone who got the benefit of Donald Trump's tilt, just like the homicidal crown prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman.
Yeah, you bring up, again, an interesting point that I was going to ask you about, which was that earlier this year you also pressed Republicans to investigate Jared Kushner's foreign influence peddling. Kushner reportedly still trying to make quid pro quo deals with foreign governments, even as his father-in-law runs for president again. And this time, it comes after he accepted a $2 billion investment from the Saudi government into his private investment firm mere 6 months after he left the White House. Even James Comer admitted he, quote, crossed the line of ethics with that one. Is there a chance to get any kind of answers to some of these questions that you are posing, whether it be about Jared Kushner or about his father-in-law, Donald Trump?
Well, not as long as the Republicans hold the gavel. But this is something that the Democrats have been determined to get to the bottom of, because it goes right to the heart of what kind of government we're going to have. I mean, the founders of the country built into the Constitution this foreign emoluments clause in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution, which says that nobody in federal office, including the president, can collect a present, an emolument, which just means a payment, an office or title of any kind, whatever. The Constitution says, from a king, a prince, or a foreign state. And yet that became the whole MO of the Trump administration. Rather than using the government as an instrument of the common good to try to make life better for Americans, the government was used as a money-making operation for the guy who got in and for his family and for his corporations. And of course, they want to go back to that now. It's never ended. But that $2 billion that Jared Kushner pocketed from Saudi Arabia, despite the protestations of the Sovereign Wealth Advisement Fund in Saudi Arabia, which said it was a bad investment. That $2 billion is the largest payment we know of, but it is reflective of the general character of the administration. And this $10 million obviously could have made a real difference in terms of the outcome of the presidential election, just like the hush money payoffs to Donald Trump's mistress.
Yeah, it's a one more reminder of what's at stake come this November with the ability to actually find answers to these very pressing questions that you and Democrats are trying to raise. Congressman Jamie Raskin, always a pleasure.